Yeah, it's trying to identify that a swing high or swing low has held, has not been broken for 40 or 50 bars, X number of bars. Yeah, so we can see here, right, that with the swings highs lows indicator, price can't break it, right? And that, that swing low is still held. It's still plotted until the new swing low is identified. Right, so this swing low doesn't get identified, for quite some bars later, right, because I increased the strength to 15. So probably what you're going to want is a swing indicator that will stop plotting if it's broken like this, right? So let's see here. Let's replace that. We'll make this just a little more sophisticated here. So let me put the swing highs lows back on here and increase the swing strength, back to 15. And I'm not sure. 15 may not be enough, but we can adjust this if it's not. Right, number of swings back to 2. Okay, so we're going to need a couple components here. We're going to need the signal counter to see if we have, at least 40 bars before we get this break of the swing line. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the solver that's going to identify the break of a swing line there. And so to do that, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to use the crossover solver to do that. I could use the comparison solver as well if I wanted to. But I'm using the crossover solver, just preference, I guess. And I'll explain why here in just a moment. All right, so when price breaks through the swing low, right, we're looking at the low price of the bar. Let's stretch this out a little bit here. All right, yeah. So, the way that we know that price has broken the swing low is we can look at the low, right? So if the low price, crosses down through the swing low plot, right, then we know we have a break of the swing low. So, let's see, for input A, let's make that our swing indicator. And actually, no, sorry. Yeah, let me make it price. Yeah, I'm going to make input A price. And so, there. All right. So I'm going to generate a short signal if price breaks a swing low. If price breaks a swing high, I'll generate a long signal. So for a short signal, I'm going to use the low price. So for a long signal, I'm going to use the high price. And so now in input B, this is going to be our swing indicator. So let's go set that up here, and remember we need to adjust our swing strength to 15, and our number of swings is 2. And so we're going to be using the widest tops for a long. So the widest tops, that's going to be our swing highs, and the widest bottoms is going to be our swing lows. So I'm going to use the swing lows, right? When the low price, crosses below the swing low, which is the widest bottoms, that will generate a short signal. So, and if the high of the bar crosses above the swing high, which is the widest tops, that will generate a long signal. All right, yeah, so this crossover solver is all set up. So I do need to reload the chart because of that little error message we got. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, that little error message that you just saw, yeah, it'll get corrected in the next update there. So all right, so there we go. So swing low is broken, and we're getting a short signal. Here we can see the swing high, or the high price broke the swing high, and we got a long. All right, so there we go. So we have these little breaks, right, of the swing identified. Let's see. So now we need to count the swing. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm going to use a threshold solver for this. And all right. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to use the threshold solver to just see, to identify that a swing high or a swing low plot exists. Right? So let's put our indicator in here. All right, there's the swing highs and lows. And again, remember to adjust our settings to match the chart. And what is tops, what is bottoms. All right. So what I'm doing here is, if the widest tops plot exists, I'm gonna get a long output, right? So in other words, whenever the green plot exists, I'm gonna get a long output. And if our swing lows exist, which is the widest bottoms, I'm gonna get a short output. And so for the outputs, I'm gonna do this. All right. Now, so what are we doing here? So basically, we're comparing, right? We're comparing the widest tops and the widest bottoms plot to a value of 0, right? So if the widest tops, the green lines here, if they have a value greater than 0, right? So long output greater than A. What is A? A is 0, right? So if the green, right, if our swing high plot exists and it's greater than 0, we're going to get a long output. And the same thing for the swing lows. If the swing low plots here exist, and if they're greater than 0, that means they exist, then we're going to get a short output, right? And so basically, when we look through this, there's always going to be a long and a short output, right? Because the swing highs and lows indicator, right, that comes with BloodHound is always plotting a swing high or low, right? That's what differentiates it from NinjaTrader swing indicator. Right? So if I replace the swing highs and lows with NinjaTrader's swing indicator, let's just take a look at this real quick. All right, swing indicator, I'll just use a 5. Let's do that. Like so. There. So if you look at BloodHound's output, right, you'll see that sometimes the short output disappears. Well, that means that's because, with the swing, with NinjaTrader's swing indicator, sometimes the swing low doesn't exist. There is no swing low plot. And so therefore there's no output. All right, and sometimes the swing high plot doesn't exist. Right? And so therefore there's not going to be any output if the swing high plot does not exist. All right, now I don't have the swings indicator on my chart, but I just wanted to illustrate, what this threshold solver is doing. Is just simply identifying whether the plot exists or not. There, maybe I should just fill that in there, right? So we're identifying, whether the swing high or low plot exists. So, all right. So, anyways, let's put this back to the swing highs and lows indicator. And again, let me adjust the settings and select the plots again. All right. So, but yeah, again, going back, one of the unique things about the swing highs and lows that comes with BloodHound is that it's always going to be plotting the swing low or swing high until a new swing low or new swing high is identified. Which is really what you need most of the time, almost all the time. You need this continuous plotting when you're building a system. So again, like for example, right there, NinjaTrader's swing indicator would stop plotting the swing low. And so that is, if the swing low stops plotting, that's detrimental when you're building a system. Yeah, so that's why we included the swing highs and lows with BloodHound. So, all right. So we can now plug that into the signal counter. Like so. And so when we look at the signal counter, let's go all the way back to the beginning of the chart here. Right, so as soon as we get a swing low, starts to plot, then 40 bars later, right, we're going to get a low output. And the swing high, we can see the swing high started plotting back here. And then 40 bars later, we're getting a long output. Right. But we're always getting an output because there's always a plot. So what we need to do is we need to identify when the swing high changes and when the swing low changes prices, right? We need to identify that in our count here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another comparison solver here. And, all right, yeah, so we're going to identify when the swing high or swing low changes. All right. So for input A, that is going to be our swing high and low. And again, I need to adjust the settings to match what's being used on the chart. And we're going to do something like this. And then the same thing for input B. All right, now we're not quite done. So what I'm going to do is when price changes like this, right? When price goes from a higher, when the swing high changes in price, right? What we can do is we can take the current plot value and compare it to 1 bar back. Yeah, here we go. Let's take a look. Right here, perfect. Right? So if this is the current bar right there, right? If we compare it to 1 bar back, we can see that those two prices do not equal each other. And so what we need to do is one of these needs to have a displacement. So input A or input B needs to have a displacement. And I'll just pick input B here. And look, here we go. So we've already identified, if I can grab this, come on, there we go. So we've identified when the swing low steps up, right? But we haven't identified if the swing high steps down. So we're going to do this. There. So now we've identified if the swing high changes price. Right. And we're going to do the same thing with the swing low here. I'm going to do that. There. So now we can see when the swing low changes price, we've identified that. And so we can use this changing price to turn off the signal counter. All right, because remember what's being fed into the signal counter is basically, you know, that, well, the swing, right, the swing plot is always existing here. So the signal counter, you know, is basically always going to count, you know, 40 bars that, you know, where the swing high or the swing low exists. So we need to use a reset here to reset the counting. And basically this guy here, right? So when we identify that the swing high has changed prices, or the swing low has changed its price, we can use that to reset the signal counter so it starts counting from 0 again. Right? So we're going to plug that into the reset. And so now, yeah, we want reset signal. Yeah, we want reset signal. All right, let's take a look here. All right, so yeah, we've been able to identify that the swing high has existed for 40 bars. And that is the first bar where 40 bars of a swing high has existed. All right, so let's take a look through the chart here and see if we get some other situations. Yeah, okay. There we go. So my little rectangle here is counting out 10 bars here. Yeah, so we can see that basically this looks, you know, 4 times longer than my little square here. Yeah. And, all right, same thing here. We have a swing low, right? And yeah, we have a swing low. And let's mark that. There we go. So as soon as we start getting a short output, we know that the swing low has existed for at least 40 bars. Yeah. All right, let's go back. Let's go back here. Yeah, so the swing low existed before it got broken. So I'm going to try and find an example where price might have broken a swing before 40 bars. Oh, sorry. Yeah, perfect right here. There we go. So we got that one and this one here, right? Price broke this swing high, but we are getting, right? We are getting an output here and an indication that the swing high has existed for 40 bars. So we need to correct for that. So remember, we have this solver here that, right, is identifying, yeah, price is broken that swing high. Yeah, it's broken that swing high. So, yeah, let's see here. You know what? Yeah, I'm noticing now I'm actually not going to use this crossover solver. Right, so we have this long signal that identifies that the swing high has been broken, but it's also broken back here and it's broken back here. So, right, so these bars after the break, so even back here, right? So all these bars have broken the swing high, but they're not being identified. So these bars are, right? So these bars back here, or these 2 bars back here, would not be resetting the signal counter. Right, so it might be best if I actually use a comparison solver here. So let's do this. So I'm going to compare the high and low price to the swing high and low plot. So let's put this on price. And again, for long, for price breaking the swing high, right? When price breaks the swing high, I'm going to generate a long signal. So I'm going to use the high price. And so if price breaks the swing low, right, I'm going to use the low price. And I'm going to generate a short signal. So there. All right. And so the swing highs and lows indicator is going into input B. And so there we can see, yeah. So if the high goes above the swing high, we're getting a long output. Right, there we go. So all of these, right, so all of these long outputs can be used to reset the signal counter. And that's probably more appropriate than using the crossover solver, right? So instead of just using this first bar, we'll use all bars. Right? We'll use all of these bars that have broken the swing high or the swing low to reset the signal counter. So what I need to do next is, we have two solvers here, or two conditions, right? We have two conditions to reset the signal counter back to counting 0 again. Right? So let's grab an OR node. Right? So in other words, either of these conditions can be used to reset the signal counter. There. All right, so let's take a look at this now. There. So remember, right here, right, we used to have a long output telling us that our swing high existed for 40 bars. But now we've canceled that long output because the swing high is being broken, right? So there. Yeah, let's take a look right here. So our swing low, right? There's the 40th bar of our swing low. And then, there we go. But then, once it is broken, right, our long output turns off. There. Yeah. So looky here. We have 40 bars of a swing high. And then eventually, price breaks it, and our long output turns off when price breaks it. Here. Let's see if I can find one particular situation here to point out. Actually, no, that'll never happen. Yeah, what I was kind of thinking, might happen, with this logic here. What I was thinking that might be possible is, right, is we might get price breaking the swing low, and then if this same swing low exists, right, if it still exists 40 bars later, we'll get a short output again, right? So in other words, right, we have this short output here. So what I was thinking is that, right, once that swing low is broken, if that swing low kept on going, right, so let's just say this swing low kept on going for another 40 bars, that we would get another short output, 40 bars after the break. But of course, because a new low is made, that basically, X number of bars later, this new low will be identified, and so we actually get a new swing low. So yeah, so what I was kind of thinking might happen actually never will happen, just because of the nature of a swing low indicator. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so let's just kind of summarize what we have going on here. Right, so this solver is identifying, right, that the swing low plot exists and that a swing high plot exists, right? So in other words, if you use a different swing indicator, right, you're like if you want to use NinjaTrader swing indicator, right, your swing low plot might disappear, right? It'll disappear when it gets broken, right? If the swing low is broken, it disappears, right? And so therefore, there's no more swing low plots to count anymore, right? So basically, this just makes sure that there is a swing low or swing high plot to count, right? And then these solvers here, so actually this solver on top, this one on top is needed. It's needed when using the swing highs and lows indicator because the plot never stops, right? So we need to identify when the swing low changes price, and we need to identify when the swing high changes price, right? When the swing high changes price, swing high changes price, or the swing low changes price, right? So we need to identify when this basically a new swing low has started, right? So this is identifying that, and it's resetting the signal counter. And then this bottom solver here is identifying these breakpoints, right? It's identifying when price breaks that swing low, and then also, right, resetting the signal counter, right, back to 0. So there we go. That's it. So yeah, so so the way I understand this, let's take this, for example. Let's take we'll take this swing low, for example, right? So we have 40 bars of a swing low that's never been broken, right? So bingo. We have, right, this short output, right, telling us we had that our swing low has been around for 40 bars and it hasn't been broken. And then it turns off when it does get broken. But let's say you actually want to, identify breaks, you want to identify price breaking, right, a swing high or swing low only after that swing high or swing low has existed for at least 40 bars. And so, let's see, we can, this, yeah. All right. Here, let's zoom in here. So, right, if I put my cursor on the bar that breaks the swing low, right, we can see there is no short output here, right? There's a short output missing on that. So what I need to do is use the displacement. Let's take a look at the displacement. Right. So now I have a short output on the bar that breaks the swing low, right? So with a short output there, and then remember this solver here identifies price breaking it, so I can connect. Hold on. Let's connect this into the AND node. Connect that in there. Connect the AND node in there. There. All right. There. So this signal counter tells me that, right, our swing high or swing low has not been broken within the last 40 bars. And then I have this solver that identifies if price breaks it. And so I can combine them both into an AND node. And then I can get a signal here that says, oh, okay, price broke the swing high or swing low. but the swing high or swing low has been around for at least 40 bars, right? Yeah, so here we go. So the swing high, there. So we know our swing low has been around for at least 40 bars, and then we get a break after that 40th bar has gone by. All right. And if we want, if we want some further information here, let's see, let's join let's see here, there you go. So this, so our signal counters, telling us that the swing low or swing high, has been unbroken for 40 bars. All right. And I'm going to plug that into an OR node and then grab another OR node. There. So what I've done is, I've taken the signal counter, the output from the signal counter, and then connected it into an OR node. And if we look up here, right, this OR node has been reduced down to a quarter of an output, right? 0.25 of an output. And so that's what we're seeing here, right? This little bit of an output. And then when we actually get a break, we get a full signal there, right? Here. So so using kind of this 2 OR node trick here, we can see two things, right? So we can see, right, if a swing high or low has existed for 40 bars, and then we can also identify the break if it gets broken. So let's see if we have some, other examples here. Great. So we have this swing high. You can see this swing high has existed for a long time. And we can see the long output here, so we know, right, let's see, right there, if we look at my crosshairs, how they're lined up, so we know when this swing high has existed for 40 bars, and then we can get a signal on the break of that swing high. Oh, and the same thing for this swing low. We can see this swing low here has existed for 40 bars right there, and then we can identify the break of it. So and again, if all you want to identify, if all you want to see is just that the swing that the swing plot has has been unbroken for 40 bars, then we can just go back to the signal counter here, right? We can just connect the signal counter right back into the result node, and there we go. So now we know when the swing high or swing low has existed unbroken for at least 40 bars or more, right? So all right, and let's see. Abhay is saying this is looking good. Will you upload the template also for downloads? Always, Abhay. Yep, these templates are always uploaded. So, yep, always. That'll do it.